Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Abby, and on this channel I share personal experiences and struggles with the aim of motivating you to pursue your own desires. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I got banned from Canada for misrepresentation. So I got banned for 5 years from Canada, and if you had watched my first video, I had shared how I got removed from Canada. So I had visited Canada in 2013 as a visitor. I had planned to get a job and stay here and change my visitor permit to a working permit. But unfortunately, I was refused the working permit and I had to go back to Nigeria, which is where I'm from. Fast forward to 2015. Express Entry was this new shiny immigration program that the government of Canada was doing. So I was so excited and I decided, wow, I'm gonna apply for Express Entry, and I did. And the way it works is you evaluate your educational qualifications, you do an English test, and you get into a pool with a lot of other people, right? So you're in a pool with a lot of people and you're waiting, because it's a point-based system. So you're waiting for them to call the point that you're at, and then you get invited to apply for permanent residency. So here I was in the pool. My points were really low because my initial IELTS scores put me at 412 cumulative points. So I was in the pool, my points were 412. The first draw, second draw. In fact, I think they must have done 10 draws before I realized, girl, you're not getting, these points are not even nearing the points you have. The points there, the cutoffs were like, I think the lowest must have been like 470 something, and here I was at 412. It didn't look like anything was going to happen in my favor at that time. So what did I do though? Being that I had already been refused from Canada so many times, I studied. I wrote like at least 20 essays to practice. And I did another IELTS test, of which I know is expensive, because when I did IELTS, it used to be, I think, 25,000 with the British Council in Nigeria. But now I hear it's about 75,000. That is crazy. That's insane. But when I did my second IELTS exam, it was still, I think, 35,000, so it wasn't too bad. I did it and I got like better scores. And I updated my Express Entry profile. Luckily, as God will have it, within 2 or 3 draws after I had updated my IELTS, I got an invitation to apply. I was like, oh God, the God I serve, He's there for me. I'm like, all my village people, they will not succeed. I'm moving to Canada. I was super excited. So I submitted all my papers and basically waited until I was told to bring my passport. So I think about 4 or 5 months had passed, and I got a letter from the immigration's office in Accra, which is our processing office. As a Nigerian, most of our applications go to Accra in Ghana. I got a letter from Accra visa office, and when I initially got it, I was filled with trepidation, like my heart was beating faster. When I opened the letter though, lo and behold, I was sent a procedural fairness letter. So what that really means is that the visa officers have determined that, oh, maybe there's something iffy on your file or something just does not gel, and they will say, okay, well, bring more documents or do this at that time or do this. In my case, they had mentioned that, well, it looked like I didn't have a job. They had also mentioned, in my case, they had mentioned that it looked like I didn't have a job, number one. So what I sent in response to that was my bank statement with, the inflow of cash from my job highlighted. So I'd sent that package in reply to their ask. I got a second procedural fairness letter, and they were like, well, how come you have 10,000 USD in your account. So for anybody who has even thought about the idea of moving to Canada, you know that one of the requirements you have to have is proof of funds, and these funds basically show that when you move to Canada, you're able to like settle down for a little bit before you like get a job, so you still have funds to kind of pay for your basic necessities. So I had 10,000 USD in my account at that time. So they asked me, prove how you got the money, and this money had been in my account for at least like a year or something, so it wasn't like I just put it before my application. It had been there for a while. In response to that letter, I sent them, so I had sold a piece of land at that time, like prior to that time, so I just helped myself, packed the land deed, packed the bill of sale, packed like bank statements to prove to them that, well, I could get bulk 10,000 USD because I sold a piece of land. So they got those two documents and they were like, oh, okay, fine, we're going to work on this, and we'll let you know of what we decide. So I was like, well, whatever they had asked me already, I had already sent them the document. So hopefully if they had any additional questions, they would have reached out to me. And that's what I thought. Fast forward 2 months later, so at this point my application had been with the Accra visa office for at least 6 months, which was the time where a lot of people who applied with me were already getting their passports back with their PR visas, but I wasn't hearing anything back. I remember that day really clearly. I was just coming back from church fellowship. Yeah, I was coming back from fellowship, and I got a notification on my phone that I got a mail from the Accra visa office, and then I opened it really hopeful that, oh, finally I am gonna get my visa. Lo and behold, banned from Canada. Dear Miss Osewinye, you have been banned for Canada for misrepresentation. Your ban is effective from today for 5 years, so you're not allowed to apply, you're not allowed to visit, you're just banned from Canada. So for those people who know Abuja is really hot, and I think around this time, it must have been maybe March, so it was unusually hot that day. It was hot. I was coming back from church, I was on the road walking. When I stopped and read that letter, if I was a little fainter of heart, I would have collapsed, because I had banked so much on getting the visa. I felt like, I had put so much, I had invested so much emotionally. And also, if you'd watched my previous video, this was not the first refusal I had gotten. It just felt like, oh well, this had to be it. But then I was rejected again. So if I count all the times Canada had rejected me or refused me for like visas and like work permits, this would be the 5th time. Honestly, at that time though, I can't, what I must have felt, it felt like I couldn't breathe. I must have been choking. I started weeping. The sun was hot. I was frustrated. And I had just been refused a visa that I was looking forward to really getting. Honestly, I would not really wish that on a friend. I wouldn't wish that kind of feeling on a friend. But after I cried, trust me, I cried because I really wanted to be out of Nigeria. I cried for a little bit, and then I started thinking, oh my goodness, should I give up? Like, really, should I give up? And I sat down and I actually wrote down, okay, the pros of giving up. Obviously, because at that point it didn't look like there was anything I could do. The government has said, sorry, we don't want you. You applied, but we don't want you. And this wasn't the first time they said it. They said it the first time, they said it the second time, third, fourth, and this was the 5th time. 5 whole times they had told me no. So I sat down and I thought about it. I'm like, okay, so what are my other options? So America had not been giving me visas for a long time, so I knew that I was not going to fly. I had schooled in the UK and I usually go and visit in the UK, but then because I had already left after my master's, I wasn't really receptive to the idea of going back to the UK to start hustling for papers anymore. I wasn't really thinking, and that didn't even occur to me. So I sat down and I went online. I went online to check what people did when they were banned from Canada for misrepresentation. And quite honestly, part of the reason I'm doing this video is because I didn't really find a lot of resources at that time. Luckily, I stumbled across these federal archives where you can actually check. I'll put the link somewhere in this video where you can actually go and see federal court cases. And when you go on this website, the federal court cases website, they have different sections. They have the ones where you get your citizenship revoked. You also have the ones where lawyers come and appeal immigration refusals. I went through the archives and I found a random lawyer. So I read I think about 6 of his immigration cases, and he seemed, I think out of 6 of them, he had 5 clear wins. So it looked like, well, this lawyer knows what's up and he knows how to fight to win. And after I read most of his cases and I saw that, well, he had a really high winning streak, I reached out to the lawyer and said, and this lawyer, they are based in Ontario, and the name is Waldman and Associates. I'll put the information down on this video somewhere in case you're interested. So I just reached out to them because I had seen some of their cases that they had gone to court for, and luckily they took my case. But then they were quite expensive. I'm Nigerian, I get paid in Naira, I don't have a ton of money. This lawyer must have cost me about 4,500, was it USD? No, I think about 5,000 Canadian dollars. That's money I didn't have at that time. So when I spoke to my parents, I spoke to my friends, everybody was like, well, maybe the Lord is just telling you it's not for you. Maybe you need to focus your attention somewhere else. You've been told no so many times though. Why do you always have to keep putting yourself out there? Why don't you just focus this attention on something else? Obviously, people always mean to help, but it's the person who wears the shoes that knows exactly where it pinches them. I took every advice in good faith, but I decided that, you know what though, I was gonna fight this because I don't know why I was refused the visa. I reached out to a good friend of mine in the UK then, and I just told her, I'm like, babe, can you please give me your credit card? I need to put about £3,500 on it. No questions asked. This girl sent me her credit card and I used it to pay the lawyer. So my bestie, my friend, if you're watching this, thank you again. I owe you so much. If you didn't take a chance on me and giving me your credit card, I would have still been in Nigeria stressing myself. So thanks, love. But back to my story though. So this is how I used my friend's credit card and I paid the lawyer. So they filed a case with the federal court. I don't really know what it is, but I think they filed in the federal courts. And they just told me it was a period of waiting, so we needed to wait some time so we could hear back from the court. So I think it was about 2 months after that had been filed. A lot of back and forth went through, and the visa office from Accra explained why they refused me. And let me tell you what it was. I was banned from Canada for 5 years because of representation. This was the reason. I had told you previously in my earlier video that I had visited Canada in 2013, and that trip I stayed in Canada around 2 months before I was told to leave the country. When I was applying for my express entry, I put that visit under a visit. So the way express entry works is that if you visited Canada, you have to identify the places you have visited. And if you've lived somewhere, and what they define as leave is if you've stayed in a place for longer than 180 days, that's leave. So that's 6 months. So if you stayed in any country or any place longer than 180 days, you need to identify that as lived. So what would I do? I put my 2-month visit in Canada in visit and put my 6 months and more study experience in the UK under leave. So my refusal was based on the fact that I had put my 2-month visit in Canada on that visit. So they said, you lied. You had lived in Canada before, but you told us you had never lived in Canada. And I'm like, really? If you go on a cruise though and you're sailing on the Indian Ocean somewhere and someone's like, where can I send your mail? Where do you live? Do you say, oh, I live on the sea, just right next to the Bermuda Triangle? No, you don't. You give them your address where you actually lived. So I thought, well, I had a good chance of getting this misrepresentation ban overthrown. So that's why I reached out to a friend of mine and said, please, girl, can I have your credit card? Because I need to engage the services of a lawyer to help me fight this immigration ban. Their name is Waldman and Associates. So I reached out to them, told them my case, sent them screenshots of my refusal, of my express entry profile, and they said, well, you have a really good chance, so sure, we'll take on your case. And that's how I paid what the fee was at that time. Once that was in process, I went to the UK for a visit. While I was in the UK, I got an email from the lawyer saying, well, the federal court has revisited your case and they've determined that if you withdraw your court case, they would open your file and send it to a different officer. So they did that. They got a new visa officer in Accra to review my case, and yeah, and I got told to send my passport. I got my visa. But you know the sneaky thing these people did though, let me tell you. By the time I sent because I was in the UK at the time I got that email, by the time I got back, sent them my passport, and they sent me back my visa, they gave me only 2 weeks to leave the country. So it's like they were like, oh, we bet you can't make it. You can't make it in 2 weeks, man. You have to pack. This was like short notice. Well, you guys know me now. If I had been refused for 5 times, do you really think 2 weeks would not be enough for me? I took my things, took those things that meant a lot to me, and I took off. I booked my tickets. I got BA via Heathrow, and I landed in Canada. When I landed in Canada though, I was like, this is me. This land that people said I was not going to come back to. My village people, my haters, all of those naysayers. This Canada people thought I would not come back to. Here I am. So I think my point in this video is that a lot of people might be helpful by telling you to face reality really quickly, and at a point you do have to face reality. If you don't have people to help you, like me, someone giving me their credit card, you can't really kill yourself, right? So even if you have people that are like, well, just give up, you need to be honest with yourself and evaluate how much fight you're willing to put in specific things. Evaluate how much effort you're willing to invest, how much money, finances, sleepless nights, even prayer investments. I had to pray. So you need to think about what you're willing to invest to get what you want. A lot of people said, forget it. My family said, forget it. But I did not, and here I am. Everybody's happy. I was hard-headed and eventually made my way. So I just want to share with you that don't despair. If you've been banned because of misrepresentation, or you've just been refused a visa or something, whatever it is that you're finding as a challenge right now, don't despair. Don't give up hope. I'm the person that Canada had obviously said no to at least 5 times, and here I am in Canada. When God says yes to something, nobody can say no. Don't get it twisted. So that was what happened, and yeah, if you'd like to see how I landed in Canada, how I got settled in Canada, keep watching. I do have an immigration playlist which honestly is filled up with so many good experiences that I think you'll benefit from when working on your immigration journey. Stay tuned. If you haven't liked, subscribed, or shared, please do that. Click on the subscribe button down below and like, share, and comment, and I'll see you soon. Bye.